Good afternoon, everybody. We want to welcome you to our regular board meeting of the Brownsville Navigation District. If everybody would please stand. Vicki, if you lead us in prayer.
Heavenly Father, we gather in your name and ask that you bless all those present today. We ask that your presence be in all decisions that are made today, that we seek first your wisdom and then our own desires. That in accordance of your word in Philippians, that we do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. That we should look not only to our own interests, but also to the interests of others. Lord, you have blessed us through difficult times, and we ask that you continue to bless us through all that lies ahead. We ask this in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Commissioner De Los Santos leads in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May be seated. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, is the first public comment period where anyone in the community can come and speak to an item on the agenda. And we have nobody signed up to speak, so we'll move on to the first item, which is the approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting of June 1st.
Makes a motion to approve.
I second the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All
There
those
was a correction in there.
Yeah.
He placed a correction.
Yeah.
I just wanted
With the
to-
correction.
With the correction.
The motion,
Okay.
the motion is to approve the minutes as corrected by Debbie. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? There are none. Item number 2, interim director's report. Donna?
Yes, sir. Just have a few items. I'd like to give y'all an update on the Bahia Grande dedication. We were originally trying to plan that event around the week of 4th of July, but we had some things that have come up, so we've got a tentative date of July the 28th at 9 a.m. in the morning, so I'd just like everybody to mark their calendars. Yesterday, Nino, with members of the Fish and Wildlife, TxDOT, the county, were out on the site and they were walking and they found some nesting birds there, and it's the bird that's nesting, and I've got a press release on it that I'll pass around. Is not an endangered species, but it's a protected species. So we just need to wait until those eggs are hatched and the birds can get on with what they do. So
Is it the Gaiman bird? No.
it might be the It's not cooperating with us, but I mean that's the whole purpose in restoring this. So that's a good thing that there's wildlife out there. So that's the tentative date, and we hope that this one will work out. Last week we hosted a Chinese delegation of 14 members from different provinces. They came here to visit the university. They were all educators. They came to the port, and Commissioner Cristiano was kind enough to come over and speak with them. We gave them a tour of the port, and they were very impressed with our facilities and were extremely grateful for our hospitality. Tony's just working on some last-minute items for the trip tomorrow. I think the bus is leaving between 7:30 and 8 for anyone that would like to go to the San Luis Trade Show. We will be signing the MOU there with Interpuerto. The port director has confirmed from Lázaro Cárdenas that he will be there, and possibly the governor. So it should be a very nice event. I think right now Commissioner Cristiano is also flying solo on that one. The rest of the commissioners had commitments, so we wish that well. The traffic at the port continues to remain steady. We had a BRG board meeting today, and the traffic there has slowed down a little bit this month because of APM. They're not moving as many cars. They're not loading. They have some congestion in Monterey, and so that's slowed them down, but the cargo is still coming in very, very quickly, and the ships are still online. I just would like to note that one of our members of the Board of Trustees of BRG, Dwayne Tyner, is in very grave and serious condition. He's at St. Luke's Hospital in Houston, and I just would ask everybody to keep him and his family in their prayers. That's all I have.
Thank you, Donna. Any questions? Next item, item number 3, presentation of the Employee of the Month. Joe?
Mr. Chairman, our employee went home to change.
Okay.
So could we just
We'll table it for just a second.
do the next?
We'll call it and you let us know when you're ready, okay?
Thank you.
Item number 4, consider an act on naming and announcing candidates selected for interviews for the position of Port Director, CEO of the Brownsville Navigation District. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we have been without a permanent Port Director since Mr. B's passing. Donna has done an outstanding job for us as interim Port Director. I have her permission to say she has not applied for this position, and therefore she is not one of the people that we are announcing that's been selected for interview. We approved the job description of the port director position on January 19th of 2005. We began accepting applications on February 2nd of 2005, and we set a deadline of March 31st of 2005 for those applications. As you know, we received 46 applications from applicants all over the country, and back in mid-April, we pared the 46 applicants down to a smaller pool from which we have focused our attention and our scrutiny on. And each board member has had their say. I have benefited greatly from the comments and the suggestions and the evaluations of each of my colleagues, as I know everyone else has. But we are in a position to move forward on this, and I am going to make a series of motions in alphabetical order without reference to how these individuals particularly were evaluated. So I move that Robert Callahan, Callahan, Robert Callahan from Riverview, Florida, be interviewed for the position of Port Director CEO.
Second motion.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? There are none. I also move that John Carter from Bellingham, Washington, be interviewed for the position of Port Director CEO.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? There are none. I move that Bernard List of Miami, Florida, be interviewed for the position of Port Director CEO.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? There are none. I move that Patrick Mulligan, Mulligan, of Sellersburg, Indiana, be interviewed for the position of Port Director CEO.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? There are none. And lastly, I move that Michael Perez of Temple Terrace, Florida, be interviewed for the position of Port Director CEO.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? There are none. Ladies and gentlemen, those are the 5 applicants that we have selected as a board to proceed with interviews on. We will be conducting those interviews sometime in the near future, and we'll be advising you accordingly. All right, next item on the agenda is item number 5. Consider and take action on instructing port staff to perform a title search on property located at South Padre Island to determine ownership. Joe, do you want to talk to that?
Yeah, I think it's important that we know if we own the land or not, and then get it surveyed.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Do you have any discussion? We know the land we're talking about, Donna?
Yes.
Okay. And this is a title search, not the formality of a survey. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? There are none. Item number 6, consider and take action on statements of qualifications and proposal for a project coordinator for the Port of Brownsville International Bridge. Commissioner Cristiano?
Just the fact that we have to start moving forward. We've already gotten a good nod from the Tamaulipas and the mayor of Matamoros, and we just have to move forward and start working on this project. So,
How many proposals did we receive within the deadline, Donna?
Actual proposals, we received 4. We received some prior to that, just resumes and things of that nature, but from the
Proposals that met the
proposals-
RFP?
Yes, sir.
Within the deadline, we received
Yes,
4?
we received
And the deadline for that was yesterday?
yesterday at 2 o'clock, yes, sir.
I've been in trial. In fact, I'm still in trial. I have not had a chance to review these to the level that I would like to. This is a very, very important position, and I would like to actually talk with each of the applicants as well. And I know we won't have a chance to do that tonight. Did you want to select someone tonight, Commissioner? Or?
Peter, I think it'd be a good idea to just refer it to the Bridge Committee and let the 3 of them go over the applicants and maybe come back with a recommendation for the board if they're.
I'll second that
board
motion, Mr.
meeting.
Chairman.
All right, we have a motion to refer the evaluation of the applicants that have submitted proposals consistent with the RFP by the deadline to the Bridge Committee for evaluation and recommendation. Do we have a second? We have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? There are none. And we can just ask that that be done as soon as the Bridge Committee can possibly meet and evaluate fully the applicants. Okay, next item is item number 7, presentation on dredging activities at the Port of Brownsville facilities. Hector?
Mr. Zavaleta, Chairman of the Board, members of the Board, good afternoon. I just wanted to give you a quick briefing on our dredging activities upcoming for fiscal year 06 with the United States Army Corps of Engineers. It is my understanding that the $3.8 million are still in track for our projects for fiscal year 06. Basically, two projects have, the total budget has been broken down into 2 projects. One is the channel and the turning basin. And for that one, advertisement is expected to be around July the 12th, with a bid opening around August the 12th, and an award around September the 16th. So we should be seeing some equipment and some dredging movement around the latter part of September. The other phase of the project is the entrance channel, and that one's slated to be advertised around October the 21st, with a bid opening around late November, November 23rd, and a notice to proceed around December 28th or the 1st of next year. This brings an opportunity for us to tie in, if we wish, or to let out a contract for performing dredging at our port facilities and take advantage of hopefully either one, having a larger volume and have their unit price basically reduced, and or having a couple of contractors nearby and get a savings on the mobilization and demobilization costs. I'm currently working with the Corps of Engineers preparing the plans and specifications for that. And let me just say that typically, based on our operations and management plan, our dredging cycles range anywhere from 3 to 10 years. 3 being the ones closer to the entrance, 10 years for our turning basin. The last time that our docks were dredged at the turning basin was about 11 years ago in 1994, 1995. At that time, our total contract for the dredging project was $920,000, but that included old dock number 5, which was just recently dredged, and that's a little bit more expensive when you're dredging natural and new soils rather than just your sediments that have accumulated since then. Nevertheless, the unit price back then was running about $5.80 per cubic yard. Based on my estimate right now for our facilities, which includes cargo dock number 3, 1, 2, and 4, 11, 12, and 13, the old docks 1, 2, 3, and 5, liquid cargo dock, bulk cargo dock 15, I'm about 150,000 cubic yards. That translates to anywhere between $800,000 to $1 million if we wish to pursue this project. Again, we do this every 10 years on our turning basin. Once the dredging is completed on the entrance and on the main channel and on the turning basin area, we should be able to lift our draft from hopefully 39 to 42. Of course, then there's the side of operations with regards to tugboats and things of the sort. But as far as having a draft limitation, that would be very beneficial for us to take advantage of this opportunity. And just wanted to give you a heads up of what we're working with and some of the expenses or disbursements that we may need by the end of this year if we wish to proceed with dredging some of our facilities, which do definitely need it.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Any questions? Okay, thank you, Hector.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Item number 8, consider and act on consulting contracts and work contracts. A, PPS Consult Overweight, May 2005, $15,505.
This hopefully is the last one we're going to get on the overweight. This is, he set up some meetings, Luigi went to Austin on our behalf. Randy walked over to the governor's desk and it's there waiting to be signed, so hopefully this is the last one. But we did get what we wanted for, was an extension from to 2009.
Which isn't the last one we're going to get.
Well, hopefully it will be the last one we're going to get.
Yeah.
But I got to say, on that issue, on that point, Senator Lucio really worked hard for us. He really did. And we actually did we actually accomplished all of our goals to get it done till, what's the date?
June 2009.
2009, which means our trucks are going to be, we are going to be able to do the overweight corridor until June 2009 without any problems or without us losing cargo. And that's actually a very important issue. And again, we have to thank Renee as well, our representative, for helping us get this accomplished. But Senator Lucio needs to be thanked.
Well, thank you also, Commissioner, for traveling to Austin to work the halls there. I know that the squeaky wheels get the grease, so we appreciate that very
And we
much.
did send both of them on behalf of the board and staff thank you letters right after.
Yes.
It was
Donna, these funds will come out of the
Yes, sir.
overweight. So just for the audience sake, these funds are coming out of the overweight that we charge the trucks.
Yes, so this is not really coming out of
Self-sustaining.
the port.
Yeah, it
It's-
comes out of the overweight.
It comes from the overweight.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second. Any discussion? All those in
Are
favor?
we approving both, or
No, just A right now. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? There are none. Item B, PPS Consult, June 1st, 2005, $20,072.62.
Yes, sir. This is his regular monthly retainer. He had a few travel expenses on there, a couple of trips to Washington and a couple of trips to Austin, which was not, this Austin travel was not related to the overweight corridor. Randy has set up an appointment, or actually a touring of the port with Congressman Jimmy Duncan, who is going to be the chair of the Energy and Water from the House and Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. So he's very important. He's the one that oversees the budget of the Corps of Engineers. So, and then also Congressman Costello, and he is a ranking member of that same committee. So they will be visiting the port for a port tour on July the 8th. And the time is still pending, but if you'll just please mark your calendar.
July the 8th?
Are we going to have a reception or something, Donna? or-
Actually, what Randy would like to do, because they're going to be in Houston, they're going to fly in, get here probably mid-morning, tour the port, and then go to lunch, and then they'll have to leave. So they're not going to be here for very long. They want to just come in and look at the port and get to know, meet the people. So we'll
That's a great
have
opportunity.
We'll have a 2 or 3 hour window of time to fill them in on all that's going on with the port. And a lot of our funding comes through that committee, so it's real important that we show them our projects.
You're going to let us know, you're going to give us the program, the
Yes, I
agenda?
will.
Okay.
So July the 8th is the tentative
July
date.
8th.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second? Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? There are none. Item C, LeMunyon Group LLC for June 1st, 2005 for $10,000.
Yes, sir, this is his regular monthly retainer, and I think that Vicki handed out separately his activity report. He was running a little behind schedule this time, but you have it in front of you.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? There are none. Item D, Esther Rodriguez Silva for May 31st, 2005. Invoice 35 for $4,000.
This is her monthly retainer, and I would just like to note, she submitted some expenses. It's around $1,100. It included a trip that she came here with the interrectal people, and then also a trip with us to Lázaro Cárdenas. She sent that on the day that we posted the agenda, and it should be on here. And I'd like to go ahead and pay it and then ratify it at the next board meeting. I mean, that's out-of-pocket expenses.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
It's for $1,100.
About $1,100.
Second.
Any discussion? Yes, sir.
I agree. She does a good job, but this money could be going towards our new port coordinator.
Bridge coordinator.
So I'll abstain on this motion.
Okay. We have a motion to pay the $4,000 plus the $1,100, and we'll ratify that second portion at our next meeting. And there's been a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
I abstain.
Mr. Chairman, how many consultants do we have? About 3 or 4?
We have
All in the $10,000 range a month?
we have two lobbyists, Mr. Barrera, Mr. LeMunyon. We pay him $10,000 a month,
All right.
and we pay Mr. DeLay $15,000 a month plus expenses. That usually is over $15,000. Plus, we also have, and those individuals are on a month-to-month contract, and we voted that they be on a month-to-month so that when the new port director is hired, he can then advise us whether he wishes to continue with their services
And then,
or bring someone else in.
And Esther Rodriguez is the consultant that we have in Mexico that's helping us right now create this foundation of memorandums of understanding with the other ports that hopefully will translate to a lot more cargo here. And at this time, I think we just finished signing an agreement with Lázaro Cárdenas. We signed one with San Luis Potosí, and if the public's more than welcome to go to San Luis Potosí, and we're going to be meeting with all these folks in San Luis Potosí and talk about how we can help the cargo translate from Lázaro Cárdenas all the way to our port and vice versa, and how we can grow together. So it's a very aggressive, but we're in the right direction.
One of the things that might happen, Mr. Barrera, is our new port director might advise us to stay with these folks but renegotiate the contracts. Or we might get advised in a different direction. We think that's a determination that the new port director should make, though. We can't run the port. Okay? All right, item number 9. Consider an act on adoption of the Brownsville Navigation District Safety Program. Mr. Solis or Mr. Gavito? Or Joe, excuse me. Okay.
It is.
1 out of 3.
And if we may, we could go back to my first item.
Sure, let's do that first. Item number 3, presentation of the Employee of the Month for June.
Okay, our employee of the month
He's all
for June.
cleaned up.
And he's all cleaned up. He's worked for the shop for over 11 years. And he's described by his co-workers as a jack of all trades, willing to help anywhere and anytime, and always does it with a great big smile. Our employee of the month, Renee Pena.
You got to shake our hand now, okay?
You don't get just to leave.
Thank you. Thank you.
There's a price to pay on this.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Renee.
Thank you, Renee.
Mr. Chairman, those are really the people that are
Abs-
on the bottom that do all the hard work, and we take all the accolades.
Absolutely.
Those are the people we need.
Absolutely. It's a great program that Joe's instituted. We've enjoyed honoring our employees that way, and it's been fun. It's our way of letting them know that we appreciate what they do. Okay, let's go then to item number 9. Consider an act on adoption of the Brownsville Navigation District Safety Program.
Okay, the Texas Workforce Commission has designated the port a hazardous workplace. In order to comply with the requirements of the commission, the first step is to implement a safety program, a copy which have you received. Every director has had an opportunity to look through it and make additions, suggestions, changes, and we've pretty much come to something that we all think we can live with. Frank Lopez here, our safety security officer, is going to be the point man in leading us through this operation. We want a safe work environment for all our employees. Frank will conduct monthly safety meetings so that all aspects of the workplace, we hope, will become a safer place to be and will be addressed.
When were we designated a hazardous workplace?
2 months ago.
As a result of any one thing in particular, or were all ports designated as hazardous?
No, it is based on the amount of accidents you have and how many days your employees are off work. And we unfortunately had 8 employees off for more than 8 days, and one with what they call an occupational disease.
Is this our first ever safety program?
Yes, sir. And one, I suppose, should have been in place for many, many years.
Joe, did you read every word of this?
You bet I did. I wrote it.
I didn't do it.
Did you love it?
Yeah, that's unreal.
Did you love it?
I think the more important thing is are we going to stick to it?
Well, we have to stick to it. And what's going to happen is we will get assigned a consultant who will come down and do a walkthrough of the port, and she will point out any safety violations, anything we have to improve on, and then we will get audited by...
That's part of the underwriting, right? That's part of the risk management.
Can I add?
Yes, Chief.
Frank here has been going around, and now we sat our employees that don't have their glasses on, we write them up, they're not wearing their equipment. He's been doing a good job of, going around the port. He does it. Depending on what project we have, we have guys we have working on the highway or on the road or something. We have a flag man out there. We don't have him. He writes them up. And we've been going around, and tomorrow, in fact, he has some safety meetings, I think with the shop. And we've already had some safety meetings about a month ago, and we're gonna have first state meetings for them and everything. So we're doing it's an overall, with all the employees, and on a monthly basis, we're gonna be having different meetings and safety meetings with them and everything.
Now, let me just qualify the accidents. It's not accidents that somebody was, it's workers' comp accidents. I mean, somebody that slipped and fell, or, you know, hurt their shoulder, or hurt their knee, or hurt their back. I mean, we've been very lucky that our employees have never had any, you know, really bad accidents, such as the accidents that we've seen in the port elevator and you know, some of our stevedores. But accidents are accidents, and we need to correct it. And so, you know, this is the first step in implementing this. And as George said, we're following up with programs, and the employees are now checking on each other, and they're working as teams to try to keep everybody safe. And what we'd like to do is, once we get this up and running, is maybe implement some kind of a program at the end of the year. If we haven't had any claims, you know, we may have an end of the year party for everybody, or, you know, give them some kind of incentive, like we have our employee award program, you know, something of that nature, after we get in this program and it works.
But this was a response also to some other incidents that we had here at the port, right? I mean, this is...
No, this doesn't have anything to do
Had nothing to do with that?
with any
No,
of the
no,
accidents
sir.
that have happened throughout.
It's strictly our workers' comp claims.
Our employees.
Okay.
Just our employees.
Does that mean that they'll funnel along to the lessees, such as Dix or?
No, sir.
This is just for being...
Just for BND employees?
Employees.
To be-
That's
to-
basically what it is.
To be more exact, isn't this like the START program of workers' comp? What they're putting us on? Don't know.
I'm not sure of that, Luigi. I just know that they pretty much had the boilerplate, and they give it to you, and you say, okay, you tweak, and you get it.
Are you recommending that we adopt the program?
Absolutely,
Do you have a
sir.
motion?
So moved.
We have a
All our
second?
employees are gonna read this book.
No, what I've done is I've put them in groups. The things that with maintenance are related is going in a section. The things that admin are related, the wastewater. And what we'll do with Frank, we'll have those meetings, and we will go through a chapter a day, or you know, a month, so that they will become familiar with all the safety issues. And we will be giving films on some of the issues, you know, to reinforce it.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Have we been sued on any of the claims?
No, sir. Workers' comp.
It's
You sign a release that
in lieu of, you get
In lieu
guaranteed
of.
payment in lieu
Yeah.
of the lawsuit.
Right.
But there's still at some third-party liability, but thank God that hasn't happened. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? There are none.
I'm opposed.
Commissioner Gaiman's opposed. Item number 10, consider an act on purchases of $10,000 and above. Debbie? We have none. Okay. Item number 11, consider and take action to amend the BND organizational chart on the addition of a police and security personnel.
We have handled that with a transfer in-house, and we asked you to table this.
Okay. We have a motion to table?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? There are none. Item number 12, consider and take action on the, is it gelati?
Elote.
Elotes net shop lease contract 3397 to include termination of the lease due to default.
This is a lessee that has been terminated in the past. In order to retain his lease or to get his lease back, he was required to put up an advance payment of, I believe, 1 year. That year has passed, and we are now not receiving payments again. This time, the amount due is very small, but again, we're not receiving payments on this account. The mail is coming back. The mailman is writing on it that this is an abandoned site.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Be sure to tear that shop down, because it's
Well, we-
just a wreck.
And I would also
People that-
ask
you know,
that,
get rid of it.
with proper notice, that you give us authorization to go ahead and, if eviction is necessary, to evict this site.
All right, does the motion include that as well?
Yes.
Okay, and does the second include that as well?
Yes.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? There are none. Item number 13, consider and take action on the Captain Nemo Corporation lease contract number 3188 to include termination of the lease due to default.
Okay. We've sent demand letters to this lessee. We have a payment agreement in place that's been violated, and at this time we're recommending termination.
Where's this lease at?
This is I believe it's on Angler's Place. It's the big shed.
That is.
It's Mr. Fayette's place. It's Mr. Fayette.
Fayette?
But not Enrique.
There's two
It's the other one, not Enrique.
The one by me or is the one by Seagarden?
One by Seagarden. One by Seagarden.
By Seagarden.
So moved.
Second? Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? There are none. Item 14, consider and take action to revoke authority to negotiate a lease with Mr. Arturo Chapa and to order an eviction on the ex-Little Manuel's Inc. site.
In October, we had come to you and requested that you give us authorization to evict on this site. At that time, you did authorize an eviction on the site. There was a company operating out of the site. They did come in. We came back to you and asked for authority to execute a lease, and that lease was prepared. And it's been ready, I believe, since January. We've been trying to get Mr. Chapa to come in and sign the lease. Along with it, there was a note for approximately $40,000 in back rent on that site. He paid us about $10,000 in October. We've had no further payments, and we're asking that you withdraw your authority for this lease and that you authorize us to go to eviction. They are operating on the site.
Yeah, but how long that lease, $40,000 in the rear, he said? How long he hadn't paid?
That was Mr. Trevino's bankruptcy amount. However, when Mr. Trevino went into bankruptcy, Mr. Chapa moved on the site. And we had a lot of problems with his bankruptcy. He was thrown out of bankruptcy court. They allowed them to refile in bankruptcy. It was a difficult one for us to nail down.
So
Chapa did pay $10,000, and I
Yes,
think
sir.
we ought to try to get him in here to work something out with him.
We have, B has been calling. She's talked to his bookkeeper. We delivered a letter to his site, I believe on Friday. It was delivered to him personally, and he has not come in.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? There are none. Commissioner Gaines opposed.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
These people that are being evicted and they owe money and we haven't collected for all that time, don't we have a right to get some of the property so we can sell it and get some money out of it?
Commissioner Renfro? Excuse me. Mr. Renfro?
Yes. If there are assets on the site, then they become ours. Now, sometimes they owe money to the bank, and then we have to work it out with the bank. But yes, if there are assets left on the site, they become ours.
Correct, Counselor.
And sometimes you will hear where we have an auction of property.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
All right, good.
That's what that is.
Good question, though. Item number 15. Consider and take action on revision of BND tariff number 5, item 275, page 210, establishment of a wharfage rate for grain products in bulk via elevator.
This item and the next two are related to the repairs that are going on at the bulk cargo dock,
You want me to call them together?
if you'd like to.
And we'll call item 16 together. Consider and take action on revision to BND tariff number 5, item 340, page 305, increase in the harbor fee for vessels docking at the bulk cargo dock.
And number 17 as well. if
Oh, I'm
you'd
sorry.
like.
And 17, consider and take action on revision to B&D tariff number 5, item 345, page 306, increase in the dockage charge for vessels docking at the bulk cargo dock.
As a part of the rehab that's going on that dock, we've been discussing with you as a board that we would need to raise the rates that we charge at this dock. Hector Lopez and I have worked on these, and we've sent this out to Mr. Elkins. He did have a counter proposal, and I think I discussed that with you all in the backup. We feel that this type of a proposal where we're increasing the harbor fee, we're increasing the dockage, and we're increasing the wharfage spreads the increase to the owner of the cargo and the owner of the vessel, rather than hitting one or the other. I prepared an analysis on the last two grain ships that we had, so you can see the increase that it would be on each vessel, And we haven't had any barges for a while, but we did pick up a representative barge so you can see what the increase would be. Hector is telling me that we are already looking at $1.8 million on this dock. With a new ramp that they're asking for, it may go up to $2 million. It's quite a few vessels at this increase.
And these rates and fees is in line with what other ports are charging?
I know that Hector checked with Houston, and this is even still under what Houston is charging. It's hard for us to evaluate because they're privately owned elevators, but it is not really out of line with what Houston is charging.
What about Corpus?
Corpus, I don't know that he could. I don't know if Hector's here. I know he tried to get the rates.
Yes. What are the increase in fees? I mean, I guess you all have them in front of you, but
Good question.
Okay. The wharfage charge right now is 0, and we would be going to 40 cents per metric ton. The harbor fee at that dock is $100. It would be going to $150. And the dockage right now at that dock, it will be going to 25 cents. I think it runs around 16 to 18 cents right now. So we're going to 25.
and there's two different rates at that elevator dock, right? One for if it's
And
vessel
all of the
discharging, and
rates
another
would
one
be,
if it's loading.
all of the rates would go to 25. Would be across the board.
What do you think of that, Bobby?
Well, the dockage, the dockage on the loading in other elevators it is a little more for vessel loading, but discharging they're more in line with. Well, most elevators you don't discharge into, so it's kind of. But I would think they'd be more in line with what our dockage rates are for other docks, which is what.
15.
Mm-hmm. You know, at the elevator, it's always been higher. I mean, I guess because, Bobby, I don't know. I mean, at the Grand Oak, maybe because they don't pay wharfage or that they.
Well, they used to pay wharfage and still be higher, so.
But it's
that
just always been higher on that dock, I don't know. But our regular wharfage is 15 cents a ton.
Right. Well, I mean, I just was trying to, the question was asked, how does it compare? And I've seen dockage for loading in other ports that are like 35 cents a ton. But again, they load the ship a lot faster, so they're in half the amount of time. So I think it's, kind of in line with the other ports.
You did your research before you.
Yes, sir.
before you made the
Hector did quite a bit of the research on this project.
Hector?
Yes, for example, the Port of Houston has a 45 cents on the dockage. They also have a user fee of 12 cents per ton, just for the user fee. Now, and on top of that, they also charge 3 cents per bushel for loading and unloading, and that's because they own the elevator and the dockage facility. So what we're trying to do is try to spec out, obviously when they charge the 3 cents per bushel, they are also accounting for some of the monies and usages and it goes into the dock. So we're trying to spec out, since we do not own or control the operations, we're trying to spec out only the dock. And we basically need about $150,000 to $160,000 a year in revenues to break even our investments. We're currently making about $100,000 to $100,000 as is, basically coming from our neighbor, Vulcan Materials, which we will continue. And by adjusting these rates and on the forecast of conversations I had with Mr. Elkins that we will hope to move about 150,000 tons per year in grain, that will provide the other 50%. So I'm trying to come in at about 200,000 so that we can make our investment return around 12 to 15 years.
Have you consulted with Mr. Elkins?
Yes, we did.
He's confirmed that this is okay?
He made a counter proposal that we leave the wharfage at 0 and go to 40 cents on the dockage. Of course, that shifts all of the increase to the vessel owner and nothing to the cargo owner.
Are we getting so much a bushel from the elevator?
No.
Wasn't there some type of agreement there?
There was an agreement in his contract, but he chooses to go by the.
Well, we need to be
tariff.
careful. We can't talk about.
Yeah.
If we need to talk in detail about that, let's do that in executive session. Okay, what do we want to do with these 3 items?
The question I got is on the barges. I mean, that's going from 150 to 760. Oh, that's a big increase.
Majority of the increase would be by charging wharfage on the cargo, whereas they do not pay wharfage at this time at all.
Got to get something out of it. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All 3, Roy?
Yes, sir.
All 3? 15, 16, and 17. We have a motion to approve all 3. 15, 16, and 17. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? There are none. Item number 18. Thank you, Debbie. Item 18, authorize interim port director to advertise for and accept bids for the following services and materials in connection with reconstructing the main entrance to the port, which I'm sure lessees would welcome.
Yes.
Nino?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, before I get on this, I would like to call to Mr. Collins' attention that item 13, that's not me.
Captain Nemo? I thought it was you. That's why I pronounced it that way.
Okay.
I give up.
Okay. What we have been thinking about doing is first I thought about going into a turnkey contract and doing everything under one contract. Then I got thinking about it that maybe we would go separate ways where the port in effect would be the the contractor, and we would hire subcontractors. So what I'm doing with this is I'm asking for authority to advertise for bids. Number 1 is for Portland concrete, cement concrete. Estimated cost on that is going to be about $38,200. Reinforcing steel, about $10,400. Traffic control devices, about $2,000. And the actual placement and finishing of the concrete and the reinforcement would be about $25,000 for a total of $75,600. Now, what we intend to do is with our own maintenance forces is do the subgrading and prepare the subgrade and stabilize subgrade, and that would be around $16,000 for a total of $91,600. I think that, in my opinion, if we were to accept bids on this, we would be looking at anywhere from $110,000 to $120,000, and doing it this way, we can probably go a little faster anyway. So,
for the sake of the audience watching our meeting, where is our main entrance?
Our main entrance is here on Faust Road, where when you come to a gate in there, there's a guard shack in there, a guard house, and that's what we're talking about.
Where the bumps are.
We don't have any bumps right now.
Where you fall in.
How long will you pave there?
We going into the port, it's going to be 200 feet by about 36 foot in width. Now, what we're going to have in there is eventually, and it's not figured into this cost, is we want to put a swing actuated gate with a remote control where you swipe it, and we'll make provisions for that. On the return, we're looking at, again, 200 feet, but we will be putting it's about 34 foot in width. Now, in conjunction with this, we will be putting some low-profile concrete barriers to kind of protect the guardhouse from the trucks, and they will be staggered. The 200 feet in each direction will not be in line with line. What we're trying to do is take advantage of moving it back to where the trucks begin to start stopping, which is where they're inducing the force on the pavement, and then as they leave, well, it's not a problem. So I guess in a nutshell, what I'm looking for is we're looking for authority to go ahead and advertise for.
Where would this money come from, Debbie?
Operations. Nino, how long ago was that paved? Because it hadn't been that long, been a year, 2 years.
What we want to do is put concrete.
Yeah, but I mean, we redid this area just a couple of years ago, didn't we?
Well, yeah, we did, but the trucks
didn't hold up.
The trucks put a tremendous amount of pressure on it.
We fill it probably once a month, twice a month.
I've noticed how we've spruced up the appearance of our main building, this building, and that's to be commended. but lessees have asked us for a real main entrance, and this seems to me a pretty reasonable approach.
Well, let me, if I may, this is the beginning. What I would like to do is come back with a canopy over it, over the guardhouse, and have a full-fledged canopy, kind of like what you see in service stations or whatever. So it'll come next.
And there's another option as well, which is we might be able to go back and talk to the overweight corridor, because it's the overweight trucks that are actually
doing all the.
Thanks to the overweight corridor, we got the cargo we have, but unfortunately, it's destroying our roads. So there may be something we can do in the near future to somewhat, hopefully, pay for this.
Offset that.
Offset this, but I don't know. Do we have to?
The way that the law is written, the overweight quarter, the fees that we charge are strictly on the highway 48 and on 7783. Now, and I think I've mentioned this to y'all before, we're looking real seriously at keeping the $30 per permit, but reducing the state part to 25, and us keeping $5 to do our internal infrastructure. What we've been done, and I've been talking about this thing, and what we want to do is we wanted to wait till the law was signed, and then we would go back to TxDOT for on that approach. Now, on the overweight quarter, we have an obligation, and the kitty needs to stay up there. Right now, there's over $1 million. I was told by TxDOT yesterday that they want to replace a bridge. There's some boxes up there close to FM 313 that they want to replace, so it's going to drain it some. Now, what will happen is the obligation that BND has is if we run that kiddie drive, of course, we have some bonds. We purchased some bonds, but BND has to put up any monies to do the repair work.
Okay, we have a motion.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. Joe,
Second.
Commissioner Roy Del Santos made the motion, so we have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? There are none. Thank you, Nino. Item number 19, consider and act on the following leases. A, Transforma Marine Corporation. B.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Transforma Marine, this is a new lease to be effective June the 16th for 5 years with one renewal option of 5 years. The purpose is for remediation of government vessels, and the rent for the site is $38,772 and is based on 10.77 acres, which would be located right in this area. And this contract is ready for the board's consideration.
Is that for mooring vessels out there or not?
No,
Just to use the land?
just to use the land.
Aren't they looking into mooring vessels out there? This area?
Well, not this area.
What's in there now?
There's nothing there.
Never been used before?
No, sir. This site has never been used before.
And what are you gonna store there?
They're not going to store anything there. They're going to be tying up the vessels.
Just
They're
to
going
tie
to
up the
be,
vessel?
yes, tying up vessels.
They won't be cutting and throwing on the ground there?
No, sir. We have Nellie here representing Transforma.
But I asked if they're gonna moor vessels there.
Oh, yes, alongside yes, on the water.
They're going to do the remediation work, like they're doing over here by the harbor master's office. They're going to remediate it and then pull it into the slip.
And then-
cut
It would be a
Right.
preparation of the vessel for dismantling.
It's a ship tie-up area, is that right,
Yes.
Nelly?
And we're comfortable that
Tie up the ship there?
we're comfortable that we've distinguished what they're gonna do there and what they're gonna do at the other side.
Right.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Be cleaning it
We have a
up.
motion to approve the contract. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? There are none. Item B, ESCO Marine Inc., month-to-month lease.
Mr. Chairman, a request to table item number 2 and number 3.
Item B and C.
Sir.
All right, do we have a table, we have a motion to table?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? There are none. Number 20, consider and take action on assignments, negotiations, easements, subleases, and contracts in general. A, USA Meat and Grain Company, Inc., Brownsville Co-op.
USA Meat and Grain Company is in the process of selling their improvements to Brownsville Co-op, and they're requesting the board's, they're requesting a release of their lease subject to our negotiating a new contract with Brownsville Co-op. So I'm asking the board to give me authority to negotiate with Brownsville Co-op.
Didn't Brownsville Co-op sell them this property? Or sell them the
It was
assets?
STG, is South Texas, yes.
Is that the one right up?
That's the one over here on 511. Yes.
I think Brownsville Co-op owned that at one time.
It might have been the original one, yes, at the very beginning. That sold it maybe to SDG. And so now it's going back to the...
And they moved there north of Los Resines, where that other gym was up there.
Do we have a motion?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? There are none. Item B, ESCO Marine Inc., subordination of lien.
Yes, ESCO is asking the board's consent to subordinate in favor of Caterpillar World Trading Corporation for a shredder that they're going to place on the site, their site, which will be, the principal amount is $1 million, and they're asking the board's consent for this piece of machinery.
So moved.
Second.
Do you recommend that, Mr. Renfro?
Yes, I reviewed the agreement, it's fine, it's just the bank always wants the first lien when they have a purchase money loan, and the agreement's fine.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? There are none. Item C, Rio Vista Operating Partnership LP, Duke Energy Field Services LP assignment.
Mr. Chairman, a request to table this item.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? There are none. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our agenda for our meeting. We're going to stand adjourned for executive session.
Mr. Chairman,